I'm still discovering new features in iOS 26, like how to change that snooze slider back to a button, create ringtones right on your iPhone with any audio file, faster access to that picture-in-picture recording, a bunch of settings you should probably change, and after a few months, that Visited Places feature in Maps is really cool. First, let's start with an Apple Music tip. I recently discovered the Expedition 33 soundtrack, and if you're playing something, whether it's a playlist or an album, you probably knew that on this mini player down at the bottom, even if you're in another tab like on Search, you can swipe on that mini player to actually change tracks. Well, you might not have known, and I discovered this thanks to a follower. Forgive me, I lost the post. If I find the post, I'll link it below and make sure to give them credit. But you can actually swipe on the album artwork here on the Now Playing screen to actually go backwards and forwards between tracks. Next, remember, you can set any audio file as a ringtone right here on your iPhone with iOS 26. That includes things like a voice memo. So here I have a voice memo. It's me doing a Kool-Aid Man impression. Oh yeah! Well, when you have the audio file here open, just tap the share button, tap more down here at the bottom, scroll down, and you'll see Use as Ringtone available right here. Once you tap it, it's going to add that audio file to the Settings app as a ringtone. So now you can go to the Settings app, go down to Sounds and Haptics, and when you go to set your ringtone, you'll now see that audio file automatically added here. You're not going to do it all on your iPhone. Next, there was a new feature in iOS 26 called Visited Places here in Apple Maps. Now, when you first open the Maps app, it's not immediately clear where to go, but here in Maps in the bottom drawer, tap Places, and here, in addition to your pinned, saved places, and guides, you'll see Visited Places here. It still has a beta tag, but as you travel and visit places like restaurants, it's actually going to automatically log those places right here. So if you go into Visited Places, here you can actually browse by city, you can browse by type, things like dining and shopping. So maybe you went to a restaurant while you're on vacation and you don't remember where it was, but you want to save it for later. Well, I can tap the dining category here in Visited Places, and this is going to show me a list of all the restaurants I maybe got directions to, or maybe I looked at the business info at one point when I searched in Maps. And then you can even filter this further by city and date. So maybe I want to see the restaurants that I visited in Wesley Chapel. Well, I can tap that city here, tap the blue check, and now it's just going to filter those places. You can also tap multiple, so maybe Wesley Chapel, Tampa, and Chicago. You can also filter by date, including a month and year or a specific date range. So you can see all the places you might have visited while you were traveling. I'll clear the city for now, go back to the date range, and I'll choose a month and year. I know we took a family trip in September 2025, so I'll filter by that month and date. Now I'm still seeing some from local places and when we were on that trip. But when I go back to city, I knew we visited places in Bedford and Lynchburg, so I'll filter to those locations, and now I can see all the restaurants we visited while we were on vacation. And remember, I didn't actively save these. These were just places we searched for or got directions to. You can also see things like shopping locations, filter those by city and date, and more. Next, whenever you add a calendar event or even set an alarm, there's a faster way to set the time. So if I go to the stock calendar app here on iPhone, I'm going to create a new event, tap the plus icon, and here, where you choose the date and time, rather than scrolling and only having to choose from 5-minute increments, just tap on the time right here, and now I can type whatever time I want. So maybe I want to do 7:13 p.m. I can just type those numbers, and I get that as the start time of the event. Tap the blue check, and that's now the start time. This also works when you're doing something like creating an alarm. So if I go to the clock app here, let's add a new alarm, and rather than scrolling to choose the time, I'll just tap right here, and then I can choose something like 8 a.m., and it's much quicker than having to scroll through just to get to the exact minute I want. And remember, another iOS 26 feature, when you're setting an alarm, you can actually choose how long you want the snooze duration to be. So if you're like me and you snooze a lot, you could change that to a lower minute, like 3 or 4 minutes. Speaking of alarms, you might have noticed in iOS 26, you now have to slide in order to stop the alarm, rather than just being able to tap the button. Well, you can actually change that. We'll go back to the main screen, and this time go to Accessibility. Here, go to Touch, and then swipe down, and at the very bottom you'll see this toggle, Prefer Single Touch Actions. Toggle that on, and now when an alarm goes off, you won't have that slider. Instead, you can just tap the stop button here. Next, if you wear AirPods a lot, and when you get in the car, it's frustrating that the music or podcast switches to your car audio rather than stays in your AirPods until you choose when to switch it. Well, you can actually change that as a setting. Back here in the Settings app, go to General, and then swipe down to AirPlay and Continuity, and you'll see this option, Keep Audio with Headphones. If you toggle this on, that means when you have AirPods in and you get in your car and turn it on, even though your phone's going to connect to your car Bluetooth, the audio will stay in your headphones until you take your AirPods out or choose to manually change it to the car. Also, a quick Safari tip. You might already know this, but if you want to quickly close tabs on your iPhone, you can tap and hold on the address bar here at the bottom, and you can close a single tab, plus you can move this tab to a tab group. I did a whole video on Safari tips, including tab groups. I'll link that above and down below. But when you swipe up from the tab bar, you go into this view where you see little thumbnails of all the websites you're visiting, and you can tap the little X to close each tab, but you can also just swipe right to left, and that will close the tab as well. That's how I've been closing tabs here. You can also tap and hold on the 14 tabs down here, and you can add bookmarks to all of these tabs, select multiple tabs here, and then move it to a tab group, or tap the 3 dots, and then you can pin these, copy the links to all of those pages you have selected, and a ton more. And speaking of websites, if you're trying to build a website on your own, there's a good chance you're going to be using WordPress, which powers a lot of the internet, and that's why you need today's sponsor, Kinsta. Kinsta is managed hosting for WordPress that offers fast, secure, and reliable website hosting with 24/7 expert support. And I actually think one of the best features is it has 24/7 support that's not AI chatbots. So if you've ever used a product or you need help with your website and you're frustrated by having to live chat with an AI, well, Kinsta offers real human being support 24/7. And it can feel overwhelming trying to figure out website hosting all on your own. That's why Kinsta's managed WordPress hosting is such a relief. Their team of experts handles your website even if tech isn't your thing. Basically, if you want your website hosting to just work, Kinsta's your answer. Over 140,000 businesses trust Kinsta with their websites, and G2 crowned them the #1 in WordPress hosting. And when you switch to Kinsta, your website could run up to 200% faster. Kinsta's in a league of its own with enterprise-level firewall and DDoS protection, isolated container technology, SOC 2, and up to 99.99% SLA-backed uptime guaranteed. And Kinsta's control panel is so user-friendly, you'll actually enjoy managing your website. Plus, on their website, you can see all the things built into Kinsta that you would have to pay extra for elsewhere, like CDN, advanced caching, backups, migrations done just for you. So if you want to move your website to Kinsta now, they'll help you with that migration. Uptime monitoring, SSL certificates, which I recently had to deal with, and those can be a pain, so just let Kinsta handle it for you. So whether you're an enterprise user of WordPress or a small business just trying to get your website off the ground, Kinsta can help. That free migration is going to help a ton, backups you can trust, and I'll say it again, that 24/7 actual human support, not AI chatbots. I think that's a standout differentiator in today's world. So if you're tired of being your own website support team, try Kinsta today. You get 30 days for free. You can scan this QR code right here or click the link down in the video description. Plus, there's a 30-day money-back guarantee. And again, they're going to handle that migration for you so you can get your website moved over, piece of cake, and then you're going to have fast, secure hosting with that 24/7 human support. My thanks to Kinsta for sponsoring this video. Next, the camera control button is pretty divisive. Some people love it, some people don't care for it. First up, by default, using camera control when your phone is locked, you have to press it twice in order to open the camera. We'll change this setting to make it a little more useful. Here in the Settings app, go down to Camera, and then right up at the top, you'll see Camera Control. Here, there's a Require Screen On toggle. Toggle this off, and now even with your iPhone locked, you can press the Camera Control button, and I'm already in the Camera app. I didn't have to unlock or press it twice. I find with that toggled off, Camera Control is now the fastest way for me to get to the camera on my iPhone. But if you want to see what else it can do, Camera Control can actually open different apps. So at the top of those camera control settings, tap here, and instead of the stock camera, you can have it open other things like Blackmagic Camera, Halide, or even Instagram. So maybe you post a lot of stories or you're a content creator. Well, now you can have Camera Control be an Instagram opener. Now when I click it, it's going to open Instagram directly to capturing a photo or video. And if I tap that photo, I can now quickly share it as a story, reel, post, or send it in a message. So if you haven't found Camera Control useful yet, try putting it on another app or at least toggling off that Require Screen On, and I think you're going to get to your camera even faster. And a couple other camera tips. Since iOS 26, I found it difficult to take burst photos. Like if there's a lot of fast action, you want to capture those burst mode. There's not an obvious way to do it in the camera app anymore. Well, now to take burst modes, there's two methods. Tap and hold on the shutter button here in photo mode and then drag it all the way to the left. That'll be if you're in portrait mode, and you'll see now it's taking a bunch of photos. If you're in landscape mode like this, then tap and hold and drag down, and you'll take those burst mode photos as well. But there's also a faster way to do it, and that's actually holding the volume up button on your iPhone. If I click and hold on that volume up button, you'll see I've now entered burst mode, and I'm taking a bunch of photos. If that volume up in burst mode is not working for you, go back to the Settings app and go to Camera, and then scroll down for the Use Volume Up for Burst, and make sure that's toggled on. Also, while we're here in the camera settings, if you scroll down, you'll see this option under Composition called Indicators. This can actually help you add some features that are going to be easier to access in the camera app, like dual capture. If that's toggled off and you open the camera app, I'm going to go over to video mode, and you'll see in order to do the dual capture, where you record both the front-facing and rear-facing camera at the same time, you have to tap the 6 dots, and then you can go into dual capture mode. When you do that, you'll see the front-facing camera here and the rear-facing camera large. You can also drag that around the screen if you want to replace it. Well, go back to the settings, and if you toggle dual capture on, now when you go to your video mode here in the camera app, you'll actually see the dual capture icon only one tap away. You won't have to go into that menu option. You can just tap the icon here and you'll go into dual capture mode. Also, you can clean up some of those settings, like if you don't use action mode very often, you can toggle it off, and now that icon won't be in the camera app. Now I just have flash and dual capture, but I can still get to action mode by tapping the 6 dots and then going to action. And speaking of photos, I've talked about spatial scenes, especially on the lock screen. It's a really cool effect, especially if you have a nice photo with people in it, and when you move your iPhone around, it kind of looks like a 3D scene, even layered with the clock and the background. Well, you don't have to make a lock screen spatial scene in order to enjoy that effect. Just go to the Photos app here, go to a photo you've taken with your iPhone. I'll choose this ping pong robot I saw at CES, and it's a really small symbol, but way up here in the top right corner, that's the spatial scene icon. If I tap that, you'll see it'll transform this image into a spatial scene. And now if I move my iPhone around, you're gonna get that 3D kind of depth effect on any photo you've taken directly on your phone. It doesn't work for screenshots or some photos that you might have saved from other people. Next, this isn't iOS 26 specific, but if you ever wanted to get your brightness even lower, especially late at night, changing the white point of your phone, which you can add here in the control center, gets it even dimmer. So even if you go to the dimmest setting here on the slider, you can tap that and it'll get even dimmer. Now you can add that to the control center, even additional pages here in control center, by tapping and holding, add a control, and then just search for white point. There you'll see the reduced white point, and having that at control center makes it dimmer. But you can also make this side button turn off white point with a triple click. Go back to the settings app, go to accessibility, then here in the accessibility settings, go all the way down to accessibility shortcut. Then here in the accessibility shortcut, you can either choose one action or even multiple. So maybe you want to enable eye tracking, live recognition, and also reduce white point. Now when you triple click it, you actually get a menu option to choose which one you want to enable. But I like only having one option. This way it's even quicker to enable something like reduce white point. Now a triple click and it's going to reduce the white point and dim the screen even further. Triple click again and it goes back to the regular brightness. Next, you might have noticed that your iPhone's going to tell you how long it's going to take to charge to 80% and fully charge, especially when you're using a MagSafe battery. Like this is my favorite one from Baseus. Once you attach it and your phone starts charging, give it a few seconds and now it'll tell you how many minutes it's going to take to get to 80% with the current charging speed. So 22 minutes and I'll be at 80%. But you can actually see even more information while you're charging if you go to the settings app on your iPhone and then go down to battery. Now you'll see this battery meter, and here it'll tell you the 22 minutes to 80% like on the lock screen, but you'll also see how long it's going to take to get to 100%, which is an hour 30 minutes with this charging method. So if you want to see how long it's going to take to charge all the way up, just jump into the battery settings on your iPhone. Then while you're here in the battery settings, you might have noticed, especially when your iPhone is low on battery, that it's going to adjust things with adaptive power. Maybe slow some things down on your iPhone, stop getting your mail as often. Well, if you don't want that to happen, go to the power mode here on your iPhone, and where it says adaptive power, toggle that off. Now, even when your iPhone is on low battery, it's going to give you the full performance no matter what. And remember, this is different from low power mode. Low power mode, you can turn on or off manually, or even automate that with a shortcut, which by the way, I'll put my top shortcuts of 2025 video right up here. It's been pretty popular, got some cool shortcuts there. But adaptive power is something that will automatically get enabled either when your usage is higher than usual or at random times. So if you don't want it happening, just toggle that off. All right, and final tip number 15, there's a new reminders action that you can add on the lock screen, in Control Center, and even as a widget. And I have found the lock screen icon for reminders is now the fastest way to add a reminder anywhere on the phone. So you can add that to your lock screen and even in this widget area by tapping Customize here. You can remove the camera and or flashlight icon here, just tap the little minus symbol, and now tap the plus icon and search for reminders. This is a built-in action, you don't have to build a shortcut or anything. Then tap New Reminder, and now right from your lock screen, tap and hold on it like you would to launch the camera, and it's going to launch that new reminders feature. You can even choose what list that reminder is going to go to, set an alert, location, flag it, add notes, and then tap the check and you've added a reminder that quickly. You can also add that new reminders action here in Control Center. Just go to a blank page or replace a control you've already had, search for the same thing, use that new reminder control, and now it's right here in Control Center. You can just tap it and create that new reminder that quickly. Now you can see I have a whole Control Center page here where I launch a bunch of my shortcuts, and the best place to learn about shortcuts is my shortcut community. You can join at shortcut.bot. Join over 3,500 people for free. We have lots of people helping each other with shortcuts, sharing interesting shortcuts they've built. And if you become a member, you get access to a bunch of stuff. Like I shared a new bookfinder shortcut available here and nowhere else right now. You also get access to my Shortcuts GPT, which can help you use APIs and things like match text as you're building your own shortcuts. And I have a live stream every week just for supporting members where I share shortcuts first here before it ever gets to YouTube or publicly. And you can also watch all of my live stream replays with links to download all the shortcuts that I talk in the live streams in each post. Would love if you joined, and you can support myself as an individual creator and the channel by going to shortcut.bot, and you can become a member by clicking any of the member areas there. And if you want to see some of the shortcuts, like my top ones of 2025, I'll link that video again right up here. Get subscribed and hit that like button. Lots of news about iOS 26. Google Gemini is now going to power the voice assistant on iPhone. We should see that coming very soon, and I'm going to cover it right here. So stay tuned, and I'll put a video right up here that YouTube thinks you'll really enjoy. Thanks again to Kinsta for sponsoring this video. Check them out at the link down in the description. Also, side note, if you didn't see my CES coverage, there were a lot of great smart home announcements, including this. This is the Aqara U400 Smart Lock, and it's the first Apple HomeKey lock, which can use ultra-wideband to unlock by proximity. So you don't even need to tap your phone. Your phone could be in your pocket, and it's going to unlock this smart lock. So I'm going to have a full review on this coming very soon, plus a bunch of other smart home stuff, and my favorite automations was another recent video on the channel. So thanks for watching. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below, and any iPhone tips you might have seen that I haven't covered here in my past videos, we'd love to hear about those in the comments as well. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time.